out of prison February 2019, and now I'm on parole. But remind you, I paroled from Arizona because I had did my California time first. Then once I was done with that, Arizona was there to come get me. So pretty much I finished the 5 years, right? And I get out on parole in Arizona. I ended up having to do 8 months parole, right? Because out in Arizona, you automatically do 85% of your time, and then you do 15% on parole on the streets. But the good thing about it is every day they go by, that's a day that you're not gonna have to do if you go back to jail. So say you get out with 8 months parole and you do 4 months of it on the street and violate, all you gotta do is 4 months in prison and then you good. You ain't on nothing after that. So anyways, I get out, I got 8 months parole. I don't know nobody in Arizona. Feel me? I've never been there before, never knew anybody from there, like nothing, right? The only motherfucker I do know out there is my brother-in-law. And this is the same brother-in-law I brought up to my brother on the reason I didn't want to go to Arizona in the first place. I told my brother, look what happened to them niggas when they went to Arizona. And then I ended up on the same goddamn yard with the nigga. Like, what the fuck? Ain't that crazy how life works? But anyways, right? I get out, and when you first get out, you gotta go see your parole officer the same day you get out. And since I had just did 5 years, my mom, my sister, and my nephew pretty much came out there to visit me for a couple days, like my first few days out. So boom, they take me to go see my parole officer, right? And they pretty much give me the conditions and all that. And I'm supposed to go to a halfway house because I don't have no address out there. I don't know nobody out there. So they end up giving me the address to the halfway house, and me, my mom, and my sister, we go up there. But when we go up there, they talking about that I have to stay in the halfway house for like a few weeks or something before I'm able to like leave and shit. That's what my mom trying to tell them, like, you know, they just drove all the way out here from California and I had just got out. They ain't seen me on the streets in 5 years. Like, they want to spend some time with me. But they on some shit like, if he check in today, he has to stay in. That's when I call my PO back, right? And I pretty much convinced her to let me stay with my mom in the hotel until they leave. And then I will go back to the halfway house. But if she would have said no, I ain't gonna lie. I was gonna say fuck it and just go back to California with it. Just do the 8 months if I get caught. When I get caught. So after that, right, me, my mom, my sister, we go back to the hotel they had and shit, right? That's when I went and changed out my prison release clothes and shit. And, you know, we ended up going to the mall. But on the way to the mall, you know what I'm saying, we ended up going to pick up my brother-in-law. It's the same brother-in-law I was in prison with out there, but he ended up getting out 3 months earlier than me. Also, it's the same brother-in-law that used to mess with the sister that's with me at the time. So pretty much we pick him up, boom, we go to the Scottsdale Mall and shit, because I wanted some clothes. My sister had just gave me like $1,400 or some shit like that. So bam, we go to the mall, you feel me, we get fitted, you know, and all the shit, right? And the whole time, remind you, I just got a phone. I ain't been on the phone, you know what I'm saying, in pretty much like 5 years type shit. But while I'm on the phone, I'm trying to holler at all the females. I'm on all the dating websites and all the shit trying to crack something. So pretty much the whole time while we at the mall, I'm lining some shit up. I end up meeting a pretty little Mexican chick. We end up chopping it up and whatnot. And that's when she like, what you doing tonight and shit? I'm like, nothing, I just got out. Immediately she like, oh, come get me, I want to drink with you. Mind you, brother-in-law used to mess with my sister, so the nigga kind of got a little bit of like pull with her, I guess you should say. Somehow he ended up convincing her to let us use the car. Bam, we end up taking the car, driving probably like 30 minutes to go pick up old girl. Bam, we finally get her. We go get some motherfucking drink from like a drive-through liquor store out there. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, brother-in-law, he back out pimping. You know what I'm saying? He already been out 3 months, you feel me? So he got 2 snow bunnies already. And I'll be real, man, if it wasn't for that nigga, I probably wouldn't even went back to jail. Cause when I first got out, I'm like, you know what? I'ma just do my 8 months parole. I ain't finna do nothing out here. I ain't finna break no laws. If I gotta get a job or whatever I gotta do, you know what I'm saying? I'ma just do what I gotta do while I'm out here for the 8 months. Plus, after 5 years, you feel me? I didn't give a fuck about no motherfucking money. I wanted some cash. That was until I got some cash. But anyway, since brother-in-law already back pimping, he already got a motel room and shit. But his girl's not there because they out working and shit. So me and him, we take old girl back to the room and shit. We chilling, vibing and whatnot. I think what we was drinking was Patron, so you know, we getting fucked up. So after a while, you feel me? I noticed she ain't got no pennies on. She like, tell your homie to leave the room. I tell brother-in-law to leave the room and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I hit. And I'm gonna be real, you feel me? I was like, damn, my first day out. Cause it wasn't like I had a female I was coming home to that was holding me down or no shit like that. I ain't know nobody out there. So I'm like, I knew I was gonna end up hitting some shit fast, but I ain't know it was gonna be that fast. So eventually it started getting late. Around 4 in the morning, my sister, I guess she woke up, realized like, where the fuck these niggas at? And start blowing a nigga up. So sometime after I hit, she ended up asking me like, what did I go to jail for? And that's when I end up telling her and shit, everything that happened and all that, right? That's when I'm like, I wonder if I still got it. So after the thought crossed my mind, that's when I start popping it at her, like, you feel me, we can get some money type shit. But I really wasn't serious though, you feel me? I just wanted to see if she was gonna say yeah. But she ended up saying yeah, so I'm like, damn, this can't be that easy. But at the same time, my sister, she blowing me up now because it's late and she want her car back now. But I tell brother-in-law, I'm like, man, she said she trying to get down. That's when he like, oh, you got one. But I'm like, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm just fucking with the bitch. I ain't really trying to do it. He like, man, you might as well. So anyways, when I was thinking about it, you feel me, I told her, I'm like, look, just chill here. I'm gonna be back. I gotta go spend some time with my family because I'm fresh out. But I guess I took too long and she ended up leaving. And I never saw her again after that. So bam, now it's like 3 days later. And my mom and sister, they gotta go back to LA now. So before they end up having to go back to LA, they take me back to the halfway house to go check in. But they just dropped me off and left. They didn't wait for me to actually get checked in. So while I'm there the whole time, you feel me, they taking long than a motherfucker to check a nigga in the halfway house, right? And then eventually, that's when a motherfucker comes. He like, yeah, man, you can't stay here. I'm confused, like, what the fuck you mean I can't stay here? My PO sent me here. He like, we don't accept people with the charge you've been convicted of. He talking about the trafficking charge. So that's when I call my PO, right? But at the same time, it's a Friday and it's after 5 o'clock. So they done already went home and shit. So every time I call, my PO not answering the phone. So now I don't know what the fuck to do. Only thing I know is, you know, to go call brother-in-law because he the only one I know out there. I call him and that's when he ended up letting me stay in the room that I was at before. You feel me? I brought all my shit over there. I ended up bringing all my shit over there and I was pretty much waiting till my PO called. So eventually my PO called me the next day and they like pretty much just stay there until Monday and then come in on Monday and we gonna figure it out. So I'm like, all right, bet. So pretty much I'm with brother-in-law, you feel me, until he gotta go handle his business and shit. I'll just be in the room by myself. So bam, I don't know if it was that night. Me and brother-in-law, we chilling in the room. He like, man, I got a cool little snow bunny, you feel me? She'll come over here and let us both hit. This is not one of the snow bunnies he have working for him though. He called her over there, you feel me? We both hit. Now I swear I cannot make this shit up. The next motherfucking day, I don't know where brother-in-law was, but he ended up leaving somewhere, right? And I don't know what made me walk out my room, but I ended up walking out my room. As soon as I walked out, it was another white girl like 2 doors down from me outside. She looked dead at me and was like, you're hot. It was so random, I didn't even think she was talking to a nigga. I had to look back like, who, me? She like, yeah, you're hot. So bam, we ended up chopping it up, and then like, I ain't gonna lie, not too long after that, she invited me in her room, and you know what happened after that. So I'm like, damn, I done hit 3 motherfucking females and ain't even been a week yet. Now, at the same time, days going by and I'm spending money. Feel me? I done went to the mall, all type of shit, you know, so I'm low-key like running out of money and shit. And I'm with brother-in-law, you know what I'm saying? He pimping, so I'm seeing him break on his girls every day. So eventually I end up like, fuck me. I'm like, you know what? I'm finna try to crack something. And there was already a couple females I was talking to, you know what I'm saying, that I met off the internet. That's when I end up popping at one of them, you know what I'm saying? A little white girl. You know what I'm saying? We was chopping it up for a minute and, you know, I told her what's up and she was like with it, like off the rip. Now I didn't see any red flag in her being with it off the back because I done had girls be with it off the back like that. I'd be like, hey, look, you want to make some money? And her ass would be down that night. And there was a couple red flags, but I didn't notice them until I got arrested. Like I remember asking her age, and then I end up asking her age again. But she gave me 2 different ages each time I asked. And I called her on it. I'm like, hey man, I thought you said you was this age. And then she cleaned it up like, no, I said my friend was that age. But I'm like, I couldn't really remember though, you feel me? So I'm like, damn, maybe I'm tripping. Another red flag I noticed when it was too late was she tried to tell me that her phone don't receive incoming calls, so she can only call me. But when I was back in jail, I'm like, man, I knew it was something funny about that shit. But you know, I just did 5 years, so it's all type of new technology and all type of shit that I don't know about, you feel me? So I'm believing her. So anyways, the day come that I'm supposed to meet her, right? We chopping it up, she want the info to the room, you know what I'm saying? She said she gonna meet me at the room. Me and brother-in-law together all day, and I'm telling them everything that's going on play by play. I just remember we went to go try to get my weed card and shit so I can smoke while I'm on parole, and then we end up going to motherfucking Popeyes and get something to eat, right? But the whole time I'm texting old girl, you feel me? So, you know, we setting everything up. So I end up telling brother-in-law, man, I'm like, man, you think this shit funny or what? This nigga gonna tell me, like, yeah, man, I don't know, man. Whoa. I ain't gonna lie. If that nigga would have told me, like, just leave that shit alone, I would have left that shit alone. But he was just saying, like, I don't know. So it was like, shit, he might be straight. But he didn't say don't fuck with it, so I'm like, shit, I'm gonna take the risk. Plus, like I said, I done seen girls down that fast before. So boom, we end up going back to the room, right? And I'm not trying to be in brother-in-law room, you feel me? Because now I'm about to have my own girl working. So I'm like, let me go ahead and get my own room. That's when I end up going to the front desk to pay for the room, right? But I ain't gonna lie, while I was paying for the room, I remember a car with its engine on. And the motherfucker was just sitting in the parking lot running. But also it had tinted windows all around the car, so you couldn't see nothing in that motherfucker. I remember noticing it, but I'm like, you know, I just blew it off. I just paid for the room, got the key, and walked right back past that motherfucker. So I go check out the room I just got, you feel me, make sure everything was straight. And then I go back to brother-in-law room. I'm just chilling, waiting for old girl to say she there. That's when I get a text from her, she in the front. So boom, you know what I'm saying, I end up walking from the back of the motel all the way to the front. And it's probably like a few minute walk. But as I'm getting closer to the front, I don't see her, you feel me? So I'm trying to text her like, where you at, you know? Because I was expecting her to be walking towards me as I'm walking towards her. So anyways, I don't see her, so I walk all the way to the front. And I swear, as soon as I walk past the front office, I just remember seeing in my peripheral a motherfucking door fly open and dudes hopping out with ARs and shit. The shit crazy, because before I could fully process what was going on, they threw one of them loud ass flashbang grenades at me. So all I hear is boom, and they yelling like, get down, get down, get down. I ain't even gonna lie, when I heard the first boom, I thought they shot my ass. But I didn't feel nothing, you know, and they yelling at me, so I start getting down. That's when they end up throwing another one of them motherfuckers at me. All I hear is boom. That's when I'm like, damn, I'm getting down. So when I get all the way on the ground, they come over, cuff me like, yeah, you under arrest for pimping and pandering. I ain't gonna lie, at that moment, I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm like, wow, I'm the biggest fucking idiot on earth. I'm like, damn, this Arizona, I just got out for this shit, you feel me? I'm for sure finna get like 20 years this time. Now at this moment, I ain't gonna lie, I had an idea it was a setup, and that's when I end up getting to the station and shit, you feel me? They had me in this tank, and then they came and told me like everything that was going on. When they told me it was for old girl, I'm like, damn, you feel me? Like, ain't no real crime take place, because it ain't like she actually got out there and did anything. So the whole time, I'm trying to figure out like, how the fuck is it pimping and pandering? Because I could have sworn pimping and pandering, someone has to sell some cat, and no cat was sold, so I don't know. But I'm gonna be real, I know how Arizona get with these priors and shit, so I'm like, damn, you feel me? They probably gonna cook a nigga just because it's the same type of shit. But anyways, I ended up getting my charges, right? And it's only one charge, an F5. So I seen the paper, I'm like, oh, F5? I'm like, oh, this shit ain't nothing. But I still haven't got a sentencing chart yet, so I still don't know exactly how much time it carried. And then I found out, you know what I'm saying? But if they did use my prior against me, it was gonna be probably like a couple years. But if they didn't, it was gonna be like some bullshit. So the whole time I'm low-key spooked, but I'm low-key not, because I don't know if I'm about to do some years like that or if I'm not. You feel me? Because it's like a wobbler. So eventually I end up going to court, and my lawyer, he like, yeah, the DA got a deal for you. But while we at court, they can't find the deal. I guess he lost it in all his other paperwork or something. And now I gotta come back, you feel me? And I'm like, damn, I'm just sitting in the motherfucking county and shit, hating it. You feel me? Like going through it. I'ma be real, you feel me? It got to the point where I was like, I don't give a fuck how much time they give me. Just get me back to prison. Get me up out of this motherfucker. Because I'ma keep it real. LA County Jail, you gotta be physically strong. But Maricopa County Jail, you gotta be mentally strong. I'm gonna be real. For the second time of doing that shit, I was not mentally strong. So anyways, about a month later, my lawyer come to see me. He like, all right, now we got the deal and shit. He like, yeah, the deal is for probation. As soon as he said probation, I'm like, probation? Hold up, y'all finna let me go? I'm like, oh shit, they finna let a nigga go, for sure. But then I thought about it, I'm like, man, 3 years probation, I'm gonna have to be stuck out here in Arizona for 3 years? I'm like, I couldn't even last 8 months in this motherfucker. That's when I thought about it, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just tell them to give me a year in prison. I'm like, shit, if they was gonna let me go and I asked for a year, they for sure finna give me that shit. Now, based on I had already been down for some months by this time, I already knew off a year, you only do 85%, you feel me? And then I'm gonna get out. So pretty much off a year, you do like 10 months or some shit. And I had already been down 5. So I'm like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? I'm only do 5 more months. But really my plan was, I'ma max out all my time, but I get out on no parole and I can go straight back to LA. The only thing about Arizona is they want you to do 115% if you want to do that. So I had to do an extra 3 months over a year just so I can get out and go straight back home and not be on parole. So I had to literally volunteer to stay in jail for an extra 3 months. And the crazy part is, within that 3 months, a riot almost happened. And it's shit crazy because I remember like, damn, man, I ain't even supposed to be here for this shit. So the prison, right, it was 2 yards, but both yards was separated by a see-through fence. But you could walk through from each side if you got like permission. Cause like the medical was on one side and you had some other shit on the other side that niggas from this side had to go through. But pretty much I just remember the niggas on my side, they like, hey, are you gonna help us with the woo-woo? I'm like, look, man, I go home in 2 weeks, bro. I don't give 2 fucks about this shit. You feel me? I'm gonna be real. But I'm like, since I fuck with the homie, I'm gonna fucking participate. But eventually a mediation ended up happening and niggas pretty much squashed the shit. So anyways, I end up getting out, going straight back to LA, you feel me? And that's when I'm like, you know what? I am done.